Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're diving into the 10th anniversary Super Boss against Shanks and the 4 Emperors with some 1 trillion damage teams. Yes, we are in an era of 1 trillion damage. However, Bandai has gone and nerfed the damage from 1 trillion, so 1 trillion is pretty much the max that we can hit. Now, there is some stuff you can do with like 2-turn bursting and all that kind of stuff, but in today's video, we are pretty much just focusing on each variation hitting 1 trillion damage to sort of maximize the damage cap that Bandai has allowed for us. Now, starting off with the side variation, we are using the Gear 5 Luffy team that I did put a Shoutout for. It does require level 150 Gear 5. Obviously, not super accessible for everyone, but I did put together another S-Snake team, so I'll upload that as probably a short, just because I don't have too much time, my hands being back from Japan. I'll upload that for you guys that uses a friend captain Luffy, so that way you don't have to worry about having your own. But this particular team was one of the initial teams that my Alliance member Porky put together. It worked very, very well. It's incredibly strong, and it basically just relies on the rush of the new Gear 5. Very similar to the old Gear 5 rush, all 3 of the Anniversary Legends have a very, very powerful ability, where if they tap last, they just basically have a pseudo final tap that makes them hit like absolute trucks. You can use them first, like Rush Sanji, which is exceptional as well. However, the main idea of the units at the back end and funneling all damage in, just like this team does, allows you to hit very, very hard. Now, this team also does require Roger to be at level 4, so that way you can get a lot of damage output. But again, the other team that I have, I think it also uses Roger, but Roger is pretty much the key for this. If you guys have Roger at level 1, I think the damage is around 600 billion, which is still pretty damn good if you guys do have a level 5 Luffy at your disposal. Now on level 2, we use Luffy to get around the threshold, we use Roger to get ourselves an orb buff, we use Roger's EX to extend the color affinity boost from the Luffy EX and the attack boost and the orb boost, so that way you move into the final stage with your attack boost, your orb boost, and your color affinity. There is 5 turns of a attack down below a certain chain and a chain lock, but with this team, you can use Markano and Shanks to remove by 3 turns, and then just tap through it, and then it'll just be gone by the final stage, just opening the door to just a few more supports for you guys. I think I have Mr. 1 on Robin and Jinbei now. Oh no, I end up using Brook on Robin and Jinbei, so that way you get a chain multiplicative. We have the Zora support on Roger, so that way you get a chain boost, and as you guys can see on the final stage, we basically pop everyone's specials, or Shanks' special first. We use Bonnie's to remove the bind, and then we use the super type to apply the increased damage taken. We do want to keep a recovery orb on Bonnie, so that's why Robin and Jinbei are so good here. You can swap with them. They give a matching orb to our captain, which is Luffy. There is a 70% attack down if you use any other orb that isn't int, so you need to make sure Luffy has an int orb, otherwise you are not hitting very hard at all. But you do need to make sure you have a recovery orb on Bonnie, so that's the way we kind of got around it. As you guys will see, you can hit 7 rushes with Luffy. We are using a level 12 catapult ship as well, just giving Luffy as much attack as possible. And I believe this is with a 1.2 times multiplier, this damage cap. But you can definitely do it without it. As you can see, as you hit over 1 trillion, you get drastically nerfed. Your damage gets much, much lower. And unfortunately, it is what it is. For this particular team, it's not that big of an issue. But for one of the teams you guys see in today's video, it definitely is. Moving on to the int variation now with the side-based team, we are utilizing Gear 5, the original Gear 5 6+, with a friend captain Shanks. Now, you can bring a level 5 rush friend captain. You don't need your own for this particular team, and that's the beauty of it. With this team too, if you guys have Kid and Law at a higher super tandem than I do, mine's only level 1, but if you have Kid Law at level 5, you can actually do a lot more damage. I'll leave a link to my Alliance member Tashi's video. He did put out pretty much the same run. I think he ran it a little bit differently to me, which ended up giving him a little bit more damage when he ran it the way that I ran it. But the super tandem of Kid Law is a 2.75 times attack boost compared to a 2.5 times attack boost of Zora Sanji. I'm using a level 5 Zora Sanji here. I know a lot of people probably don't have level 5 Zora Sanji, but hell, if you don't have level 5 Zora Sanji, you can always use Kid Law, depending on which one's higher for you. Now, on turn 2, there's damage reduction and a barrier. You get a full bot of block orbs, so running 2 Shankses for this particular team works exceptionally. Using 1 Shanks on turn 2, and then using the other Shanks on turn 3 works exceptionally, because all of these Anniversary exclusive legends all have two particular abilities. They can either be a color affinity booster or an attack booster or an orb booster, depending on which one we're talking about. And then if you have said ability, they apply a different buff. So the two Shanks on this team give color affinity and a chain boundary. They remove the barriers, they remove the damage reduction. Shanks is just a phenomenal anniversary character, really, really well built unit. On turn 2, we are basically going to utilize the super swap of Zoro Sanji, use the Zoro Sanji special as well to remove the defense up, and that way we can turn everyone into free spirit and slashers. Having everyone as a free spirit slasher makes this team work so much nicer because we are using Sop Sop. Sop Sop is a fantastic character for both Gear 5, 6+, and the new Shanks, because you do need to have a Shanks-led, like, crew member as well as a Luffy character, or vice versa, in terms of having all Shanks characters on the team. But the Luffy and the Sop Sop are triggering the Shanks EX first. Shanks is going to remove the Intimidation on the final stage. The Intimidation is for anything to do with chain, like chain multiplicative and stuff like that. But not only is he going to remove that, but he also gives us an orb boost for 2 turns at 2.5. Once we've done that, we can use the Luffy special. Luffy's actually going to increase the orb buff to a 2.75 and give us a 3 times attack boost. Then we can use Shanks. Shanks is going to increase the attack boost to 4.5. He's then going to give us a chain boundary because we already have color affinity. And then we can use the Kid Law special to apply the super type buff and use their super swap to give ourselves the chain multiplicative. Now that Shanks has removed the intimidation, we don't actually have to worry about it, but what we still need to focus on is the attack down if you don't have Psi Orbs. And the way to get around this is we are utilizing the EX of Luffy. He also applies a 2 times additional damage taken, which is great because there's an intimidation, there's an interrupt against that, and utilizing an EX is a very good way of getting around that. Sop Sop's going to give us base stats, going to give us conditional boost, and utilizing the Chopper support on them too, the Robin support, they actually increase that as well. Finally, we can use the EX of Kid Law. That's going to give us that very illustrious tandem orb that we need to activate the Zoro Sanji tandem ability, and then we can funnel all the damage once again into our Rush Shanks, clocking out at 1 trillion damage, I believe. Now, with this particular team, for myself, I needed like a 1.3 times boost, but if you guys have Kid Law at level 5, you pretty much need a 1.1, and then you'll basically just hit that cap. Depending on what your characters look like and whatnot too, in terms of level 150 and whatnot too, is depending on how much damage you can do. Limit Break Expansion comes into play as well. But this is sort of like the pinnacle of the power that these particular characters can possess, and how much damage output you can get with these maxed out Super Sugo units. And this is why we say save your gems for these particular moments, because these are the characters you want to max. These particular abilities are incredibly strong, and these particular characters are 3 of the best characters in the game, if not the 3 best characters in the game at the moment, with their action specials and all that fun stuff as well. So that was against Int. For myself, like, not the strongest team, but the final team you guys are about to see, this one goes crazy. The final Super Boss is the Quick Super Boss, and for this particular team, we're utilizing Yamato as a captain with a friend Captain Ace. So that's the team, those supports. Let's dive on in. Now, we've been using this particular team pretty much from the get-go, and we've been trying to tweak it to make it better and better. But we had an original idea, it didn't work, and then we brought in Cross Guild, and from there we've just basically been using it non-stop. Hitting the 1 trillion damage on the quick variation has definitely been the easiest, thanks to the final tap of Yamato. Because of that 1 trillion damage cap that Bandai like to slap on us, this team does get heavily nerfed. This team should be doing like 3 trillion damage. Like, it's absolutely wild, and the amount of options you have for quick, like for verse quick and the Dex team, it's actually quite absurd. And even for the quick team as well, because of Zoro Sanji and Yamato, and the amount of damage output you can get is kind of crazy. Now, as you guys saw, I used the super swap of Zoro Sanji on turn 1, and then used their special on turn 2. We actually can't get access to their EX with this team. Not that it matters all that much. We just want to make everyone slashes, so that way we can get the full benefits of Yamato, I should say. But we don't want to have the buff of Ace. We use Ace on turn 2 to remove the paralysis and give us 3 turns of an orb buff. There is that very annoying intimidation once again that drastically lowers our orb buff damage, so we want to use Ace on turn 2, and that way we can carry his orb buff into the final stage. But because we're using the new Gear 5 Luffy on the team, he can actually give us a better increase for Ace's orb buff than what Zoro Sanji can give. So we want to use the super swap on turn 1, and that way we'll be back in the Sanji variation for the final stage. And this also helps us out because that can now give us a tandem orb. The supports that I have of Neko and Vivi, they're literally just damage. Same with the Usopp on Gear 5. You can use Brook over Usopp, but like these supports, they're just damage output. On the very first thing you need to do is super swap with Yamato, get into your dual form of Yamato, get the color affinity buff, and then you can use cross guild. Cross guild gives the set target, which is now free 2 times damage. You have a little chain boost in their special, and then you can use the EX of Ace and the other Ace special. This will not only give you an attack boost and increase Yamato's color affinity boost, but will also give you 2 turns of cooldown. Now that's really, really good if you have cross guild at Limit Break expansion, because now cross guild will be ready to go once again. This particular variation has a defense up buff, and it's very, very annoying to get around. They kind of want you to use Roger, but they want you to use Roger on the previous turn. Like it's very, very strange. But cross guild, on their second activation, remove Threshold and Defense Up, which is really, really nice. So they can easily remove that. The other Ace will actually remove the... what's it called? The other Ace will remove the damage nullification that is applied on this particular variation as well. So running 2 Aces is just, it's superb for this fight. You get a lot of damage output, you get paralysis removal, you get damage nullification removal. It all just works out really nicely for this particular fight. Ace not only does an all boost for the team, but he also gives us the conditional buff as well. Finally, we can use the EX of Yamato. That's going to give us some cooldowns for our sailors, as well as everyone being slashes, just continually funneling back into Yamato, meaning that she can use her special once again, increase the increased damage taken, and then use the cross guild special once again to get the chain boundary effect. With this, we have like a 95% final tap buff, and you guys know how strong Yamato can hit with her final tap buff at level 5. We want to switch with Zoro Sanji just to wrap it off, just to give yourself a tandem orb on your Luffy. And with that, we're going to use the Ace Rush first. You can use Ace's Rush last if you're bringing a level 5 friend captain Ace with this particular team as well. You'll still hit over 1 trillion damage. Level 5 Rush Ace hitting last will actually do like 2.4 trillion damage, which is absolutely absurd. However, if you're running this particular comp and you have Yamato at level 5, you are going to hit much, much higher than 2 trillion damage. I think overall, after you clock everyone's damage together, not just this one single tap from Yamato, you're actually hitting over 3 trillion damage, which is just absolutely wild. 2.27 from Yamato on top of the one that she had there. Like, it's kind of nuts how much damage output you can actually do with this particular team. I do think there's probably a way of making this a two burst variation. I'm kind of trying to tweak it just for the back end for a bit of content. But for now, we're at such a high super boss level that every single trillion damage that we hit is definitely worth as much as we can gain. But that's going to wrap up the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to go down there, belt like button for me, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Hopefully these teams help you guys out too, hitting the trillion damage mark. Do as much damage you can for the super boss, because whilst this nerf for trillion damage sucks, super boss in my eyes, it's still a lot of fun. It does need tweaking again, but the fact that they have made this change is a step in a positive direction, because they are looking at changing the game mode. Like I said, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.